dog looks at you every single day. He watches you eat. He follows you to the bathroom. He stares at your face when you're sad, waits by the door when you leave, and loses his entire mind when you come back, like you survived something genuinely dangerous by going to get groceries. And you've always assumed that somewhere inside all of that, your dog knows what you are. A human, a person, a member of a different species that he just happens to love. Here's what science has spent the last 2 decades quietly uncovering, and what most people are completely unprepared to hear. Your dog does not categorize you as human, not in the way you think, not in the clean, taxonomic, different species way your brain categorizes him. To your dog, you are not a weird, hairless, 2-legged creature he's decided to tolerate. You are something far more specific, far more personal, and honestly, far stranger than that. And the science behind what he actually thinks you are, that's what we're getting into today. What you're about to hear comes from real, peer-reviewed research, from MRI studies on dog brains, from animal cognition labs, and from some of the most respected names in canine science. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly how your dog mentally categorizes you, why that changes everything about how he behaves, and what the research says about the bond you two actually share. This isn't feel-good pet content. This is the science of what your dog actually thinks you are. Let's get into it. Number 1. The way he sees you. In a research conducted in 2014, when dogs were shown the scent of familiar humans, their caudate nucleus, the brain region associated with positive anticipation, reward, and love, activated more strongly than it did for familiar dogs. Read that again. So the first thing science tells us is that in your dog's brain, you don't just occupy the same emotional space as another dog. You occupy a bigger, brighter, more chemically rewarding space, powerfully than the scent of other dogs. Not slightly more, measurably, consistently, significantly more. Whatever category you're in, it's the top one. Number 2, you are not just a generalized human to your dog. Here's where it gets genuinely fascinating and slightly disorienting. Clever dogs appear to create an entirely separate social category, one that has no direct equivalent in how we understand animal cognition. Think of it like this. You know how your phone has folders, and inside the people folder you might have family, work, friends? Your dog doesn't put you in a folder called Humans I Live With. He builds you your own folder with your name on it that only contains you. So in reality, you are not generalized or categorized alongside other humans by default. You are a specific, individualized social entity that your dog has constructed an entirely personal mental model of, complete with your smell, your voice patterns, your emotional rhythms, your behavioral tells, and your specific history together. He doesn't think of you the way you think of a species. He thinks of you the way you think of a person. Just that he does it better because he's not distracted by your job title or your opinions about brunch. We are barely 3 minutes in, and your dog has already built you a private folder in his brain. If this is not the channel you come back to every single week, that needs to change right now. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and bring someone you love, because this kind of content is too good to watch alone. New video every week, guaranteed. Hit subscribe. Your dog's folder for you clearly has good taste. Number 3. The super dog theory, that you are his pack, just not how you think. Modern canine dogs appear to form with their primary humans as something closer to a dyadic bond, a two-entity relationship that functions as its own self-contained social unit. In plain terms, your dog doesn't see you as the leader of a pack. He sees you as his person, singular, specific, non-transferable. The bond he has with you doesn't exist because you dominate him. It exists because over thousands of years, dogs evolved in extraordinary capacity to form exclusive, targeted personal attachments to individual humans. And then he used that capacity on you. You didn't earn his loyalty by being the alpha. You earned it by being present, consistent, and by being the one who showed up enough times that his brain wired you into his emotional core. That's not dominance. That's love, and it's considerably harder to achieve. Number 4. Your dog reads you better than most humans do. Here's a finding that should make you slightly uncomfortable in the best possible way. Dogs have been co-evolving alongside humans for somewhere between 15,000 and 40,000 years, depending on which fossil record you consult. During that entire time, the dogs who survived and reproduced most successfully were the ones best at reading human beings. Not the fastest dogs, not the strongest dogs, the ones who understood you. The result is a species with a genuinely unparalleled ability to read human social and emotional cues. Research published in Learning and Behavior in 2021 confirmed that dogs can follow human pointing gestures spontaneously, without training, in a way that even our closest primate relatives, chimpanzees, cannot reliably do. He's not smart like a human. That is a completely different and, in many respects, more sophisticated kind of intelligence. Number 5. This is what your dog actually calls you in his head. Now for the part that nobody can fully answer, but science is getting remarkably close to. When your dog looks at you and his brain processes your presence, what is the internal representation? What is the concept of you that fires in his mind? Based on current research, it appears to be something like this. You are the entity associated with safety, the source of the chemicals that make his brain feel good, the social object his attachment system is calibrated to, and the variable that determines whether the world is okay or not okay on any given day. You are not his human. You are not his owner. You are not even his best friend in the way humans use that phrase. You are his emotional regulator, his external nervous system, the thing his brain consults to decide whether to be calm or afraid, joyful or anxious, engaged or withdrawn. That's not a pet-owner relationship. That's a neurological dependency built on years of mutual trust, and he came to you voluntarily. Number 6. You are his entire world. If your dog doesn't categorize you as human in the abstract sense, if you are a specific, irreplaceable, neurologically embedded entity in his mental model of the world, then the loss of you isn't the loss of a caregiver. It's the loss of a category that only ever had one entry. Dogs who lose their primary human show behavioral patterns: prolonged searching, reduced food intake, social withdrawal, disrupted sleep, that map closely onto what researchers observe in humans who lose a primary attachment figure. Your dog doesn't miss a person. He misses you in a way that his brain has no framework to process, because you were never just a role he could fill with someone else. You were always the whole point. If you are watching this and feeling the weight of what that means, it's a good sign. That's exactly what this channel is here for. We don't make content that makes you forget your dog is remarkable. We make content that reminds you every single week in ways that are backed by real science and delivered in a way that actually lands. Subscribe right now. Turn on notifications and come back next week, because what we have coming will go even deeper into the dog-human bond, and you're going to want to be here for it. Don't make your dog's top-ranked brain folder owner miss out. Number 7. What you should do with all of this information. You stop thinking of your relationship with your dog as ownership. You stop framing it as care and maintenance. You start treating it for what the science says it actually is: a profound, mutual, neurologically real bond between two beings who genuinely need each other. Practically, that means a few things. It means that the 5 minutes you spend fully present with your dog, phone down, on the floor, actually there, does something measurable to his brain chemistry and to yours. Both of your oxytocin levels rise. Both of your cortisol levels drop. You are literally calming each other's nervous systems by being in the same room. It means that consistency matters more than intensity. Your dog's brain is calibrated to you, your patterns, your rhythms, your emotional baseline. Showing up reliably does more for your bond than any amount of weekend trail hikes that interrupt 3 weeks of distracted, rushed mornings, the same way your friendship bonds benefit you and your friend. And it means that every time your dog looks at you, that steady, patient, full attention look, he's not asking for much. He's just checking to make sure you're still his. Tell him you are. Your dog doesn't think you're human. He thinks you're something better, something more personal, something his brain spent its entire life building a custom category for, with your name on it, your scent encoded in it, and your presence wired directly into his sense of safety. The MRI doesn't lie, and honestly, your dog's face when he sees you has never lied either. You just finally have the science to understand what it's been saying. If this video made you look at your dog differently, and I know it did, here's what to do right now. Like this video, and it helps more dog owners find this channel. Drop a comment with the moment in this video that hit you hardest. We read every single one. Not a team, not a bot, we actually read them. And of course we reply. You can confirm that in the comment. And subscribe if you haven't already. Every week on this channel, we go somewhere new inside the science of dogs, somewhere that makes you a better owner, a more connected human, and someone who genuinely understands the animal looking up at you. That dog chose you. The least you can do is understand him. Subscribe. We'll see you next week.